Good morning everybody and welcome back to the channel. I am back with another What's Sold from Last Week video. If you're new here, I'm an online reseller. I go to thrift stores, I pick up items for cheap, and then I sell them on sites like eBay and Poshmark for their true potential. In today's video, I'll do a quick breakdown of my numbers from last week, how much it cost me to get those items sold, and then a short deep dive into some of the items that I sold. We're just going to dive right in. Okay, so we have a ton of sales to get through, so I am going to go very, very quickly. But all of the sales last week happened between August 14th through the 20th. And as you can see, I had another really great sales week. I'm currently living in the following week, and I don't think that my next video will be as high. We had some really slow sales over the last couple days, so I'll be interested to see how we shake out this week. But last week it was really, really good, and I'm staying in that between 4,000 to 5,000 mark, which is where I would like to live. I'm very happy with that. In total, I sold 158 items for a gross sales total of $4,561.28, making my average sale price $28.87. This is pretty low for me, although I've said that for so many weeks that I'm starting to think this is my new average sale price, but we'll see how it goes during Q4. And then my estimated cost of goods based on the average buy cost was $632 for every single item that sold last week. My estimated net was $2,634.52, which is the gross sales amount less the cost of goods, fees, and shipping costs. I sold on two platforms, eBay and Poshmark, and you're seeing the sales for both of those platforms in total from last week. On eBay, I sold 94 items for a gross sales total of $3,004.28. And then on Poshmark, I sold 64 items for a gross sales total of $1,557. We're going to dive right into these because, like I said, we've got a lot to show you. Okay, so to start, I have this silk slip dress. Silk slip dresses are something I'm constantly looking for, but especially in Victoria's Secret. This is a huge bolo. A lot of times when I find them, they're just polyester, and I might even still get them if they're pretty substantial, but these silk ones are where it's at. So this is a Victoria's Secret 100% silk black cowl, which helps to add value in slip dresses. Dress. Now, usually when I list these, I put these in the dresses category. I don't put them in sleepwear. And I suggest doing that because this is a really popular trend to wear out versus it actually being like a lounge pajama kind of thing. So I personally choose to put them in the dresses category. This was really gorgeous. It even had a small spot on it, which we made sure to note. I paid up for this because I was so confident in the piece. I paid $8.99. We listed it for $94.98. It sold almost immediately within the same month for an offer to watchers, which was about 10% off, for $85.48. So 9 into 86, can't beat that price. Next is a pair of icebreaker pants. I've mentioned this brand before. This is something that I got along with that like really big prana haul. This was kind of mixed in with some of those pieces, but I found very few of them compared to the amount of prana that I sold and found, which you'll see here later on in this video. I'm still selling those, but this is a fantastic brand to look out for. They're typically known for being like regular feeling pieces, but being made out of wool. And so you'll see this one here was a wool blend. It was made out of wool, spandex, and lyocell, but that's kind of what they're known for. They're very simple looking, and if you didn't know this brand, you probably would just skip over it because most of their pieces, like I said, are very simple like this one. This is just a black pair of pants, but I was really happy when I found this. I paid $4.89. I listed pretty high. These pieces retail and resell for quite a bit, and they really hold their retail value. I listed these for $79.97. It sold in about a month for an offer to watcher of $71.97. Next up are a pair of boots that I actually got for free. I've come into luck. I'm not necessarily seeking it out. I probably should be, and that's something I'm going to work on next year. But I don't really have any suppliers. It's just word of mouth, whoever hears about us around the area. and just reaches out to me. But I have come across a couple of people now that are just giving me stuff for free or that I'm buying things from for really cheap. In this case, this person gave us these boots for free. There's a lot of sorting involved. Most of it is not very high dollar like this, but occasionally I will get a few pieces from them that are worth quite a bit. So I was really happy with these. Fry is an excellent brand to find in a pair of boots, and really any leather goods by this brand. Sometimes it'll just say Fry, sometimes it'll say Fry and Co. But really high quality leather pieces, and this is a more substantial piece with it being the tall, like wide calf equestrian boots. And I listed these for $54.97. It did sell for my full asking price, and it sold within a month of being listed. And again, we got this for free. Next up is a North Face women's vest. I actually paid up for this because I was confident in it, but I do believe that I purchased this towards the beginning of this year, right when we were coming out of cold weather. So I did have to wait for it to sell and have since dropped the price. So had I listed it in this season, it probably would have sold for more, but I'm still happy with the outcome. I paid $14.99 for it, and I ended up accepting a best offer of $50. North Face is something that I don't want to say I'm steering clear of, but I pick up maybe 10% of what I find. A lot of it is oversaturated now, and so I really try to look up really good comps on specific materials, colors, even sizes can make a big difference. But what I will tell you is that anything goose down in North Face, if it's in good condition, does really well. And that's really true for any brand, but particularly in this brand, it can bring a lot of money. This was also size large, which I think helped up the value. So $15 into $50, I think that is a really good profit. And I'm definitely going to keep my eye out for these kind of pieces during this season. This is a pair of Diesel men's jeans, and this is one of my favorite brands to find. I find it maybe once every couple of months, so I wish I found it more. But Diesel is an excellent brand to pick up, both in men's and women's, but especially in the men's, you can really get a lot for it. I have sold Diesel jeans over $100 before pre-owned in the men's department because it was a more rare piece. These ones I listed for $39.98, and they sold for my full asking price within a couple of weeks. So really quick sale on that. And they're just a pair of pretty regular, nothing special on the pockets, Diesel jeans. And the style name's always on the inside. This one was called Larky. I paid $8.99 for them. Next up is a few Prana pants. Just wanted to show you that these are still selling. Most of them sold within the first couple of weeks of getting them listed. However, I'm still selling off a few of them that we still have, but I think we're coming to the end of the Prana era. So I paid $4.89 for these. I paid anywhere from $4 to $10 for each piece in Prana that I got. I was very picky and I tried to focus on the hiking pants in both the men's and the women's department. And I've been selling them anywhere from between like $30 to $50 depending on what the style is. If you didn't know, Prana has a style number on the inside tag. It looks like this, and you can search that style on Google and I'll tell you exactly what the style name is. And I found that to make a really big difference when doing comps because I used to think that all Prana was good. It's not. Maybe it used to be, but it's not anymore. So you really want to look up those style names if you can. I paid $4.89 for this one. It sold for my full asking price of $39.97. It took about a month to sell. And these were called the Zion stretch pants. Zion is definitely a good style in this brand. Next up are a pair of Brian pants. I won't spend too much time on this because it's kind of the same thing. But these are called the Brian pants. I paid $4.89 for these. They sold for my full asking price of $39.97, and they sold within a month. And here's another pair of Zion pants. I actually paid up for these. I paid $9.99. We decided to list these a little lower than the other ones because they did have a small spot, which you'll see we noted here in the description. And these are all great keywords, by the way, if you're listing something like this. The UPF, if they have it, of course, climbing, hiking, stuff like that. So I paid $9.99 because I didn't see the spot. I intended on selling them for $40 to $45. We listed for $34.97 and they sold for a full asking price within a month. This is one of my favorite brands to sell. This is Eileen Fisher, and this was 100% silk. Anything in this brand for me really sells, but whenever it is a really nice fabric, I always list it for much higher. And this was a really pretty modern ombre top. This is probably the prettiest piece I've ever found in Eileen. It tends to be pretty simple, pretty basic, and sometimes modest in a way. There were a couple of spots on this, as you can see notated here, and it still sold for a really good price. I paid $4.29 for it. It sold on an offer to watchers for $40.48, and it sold within the same week of listing. Next up are a pair of Levi's jeans. I really don't know how to explain how I know that these are going to sell, because when you do comps on women's 501 jeans, even with like all the details, they still do not show the best sell-through rate, but I've always had good luck with them, so I thought I'd share them with you. Do it at your own risk, but whenever they have this particular tag in the 501s, sometimes it'll say 501S for short or whatever. That's how I know that they are a pair of women's jeans. But whenever you see this tag, I find that they do really well in the women's department, and particularly when they're more unique. In this case, this one has distressing. This was also a button fly, which I thought helped to add value, and they were a size 27, so really not that big of a size either, but that's all I can tell you. For some reason, against the comps, these type of jeans sell. They're really popular right now. I just think they're really trendy. So I paid $6.99 for these. I listed them for $39.97 against the comps, and they sold for my full asking price within a month. Next up are a pair of American Eagle jeans. I have really slowed down on this brand. I almost never pick up anything in this brand besides plus size or larger size jeans, men's jeans, only certain ones, or ones with a ton of distressing. There have to be a lot of factors for me to pick them up, but I actually had some really good luck with American Eagle this week, and I'll show you kind of some of the exceptions that I made during this video. So these are a pair of artist flare jeans. What I've noticed are that the wider leg at the bottom jeans do really good now. The flare, some of the boot cut ones or kick boot, some of the wide leg ones, but anything that's the opposite of skinny, I'm always looking up the style name along with the size, which American Eagle always provides both. So I find it really easy to do a comp on, and I find that both of those things really do matter when you're deciding whether to pick it up or not. So these high-rise artist flare jeans, in my opinion, do really good, particularly in a larger size. These were a size 22 short, which is a plus size. I paid $6.99. I listed them for $34.98, and they did sell for my full asking price within a couple of weeks. This is one of my favorite brands to sell. It is LL Bean. They are pretty tried and true for me, but if you find them in nicer materials, it's definitely worth looking up. This was an older style LL Bean, but it was 100% cashmere. It was just all black, but there were no holes. I picked them up from the bins. I listed them for, I feel like I listed them for like 40 to 50. It ended up selling on an offer for $35.93. And I think what happened was that I listed it kind of like that North Face vest in the beginning of the year. And then I ended up dropping the price because it didn't sell because it was towards the end of the season, and now it's selling. But really anything cashmere, especially at the bins, if it's in good condition, I'm picking it up because it's so lightweight and easy to ship. This is one of those anime t-shirts that I got. This is Tokyo Ghoul, and I think I only have one more shirt out of that like anime batch that I got, so I'm really impressed with how quickly these all sold. I paid $4.89 for them. I listed this one in particular for $39.98, which is about where I listed everything else. And it sold very quickly within a couple of weeks on an offer to Watcher for $35.98. This is another bins pickup. This is a Talbot's blazer. I find Talbot's blazers to perform really well when they are modern looking. So I always try to look for the 2-button ones, and then I do try to find something to pull the sale through, whether that's a nicer material, this one was wool blend, or whether that's a nice color or a print or something like that. Just something a little extra to pull the sale through. Because when you're picking up blazers at the bins, they are a little bit heavier, so you're actually probably paying, you know, a few bucks for a blazer. So I am a little bit more picky with the heavier items. Regardless, I got this at the bins. I actually found a bunch of Talbot's blazers this particular day in the same bin, and I did exactly what I just said, where I'm going through and I'm looking for only the ones that I think can pull through the sale. In this case, this one fit the bill. I don't remember what I listed this one for, but it ended up selling for $32.36. And I would say that in general, these Talbot's blazers for me, when they fit that criteria, sell between $30 and $40. And just Talbot's in general is a great brand to keep your eye out for. This was a really recent pickup. I showed this one in a thrift haul. I got this really recently. I paid $4.99 for it. This is a brand 1 September, which is an Anthropologie line brand. And I normally leave this behind because it doesn't tend to perform well for me. But I thought this was very on trend. It was kind of bohemian. It has a little bit of grandma core-esque to it. And you'll see we put that in the title as well. You could do granny core, grandma core, whatever. Somebody corrected me in one of those videos about that baby blanket. But I think what's important is that some part of it gets in there because I think people use both words, but I thought this really fit that aesthetic, so I put that in the title. So I paid $4.99. It sold for my full asking price within just a week of $34.98. I was really happy with that one because, like I said, this brand doesn't tend to perform well for me. This next one is a pair of silver jeans. I used to really love picking up anything in this brand, but I am getting a little bit more specific now. I do look up the style name on the inside. These are a more modern one. You can see they have the style name right here called the Elise Skinny. And then these were a larger women's size. They were a size 33 waist, which that is a larger size in silver jeans. It's not as common to find a size 33. So I did quick comps on that, saw that they had a good sell-through rate in that particular style and size, and decided to get it. I paid $6.99 for these. They sold for my full asking price of $29.93. These did take a little while to sell, about 5 months, but I'm happy with the result. Next up is a 100% silk dress. Now, I did not pick up this particular one, so I actually was not the one who did the comp on this. Nikki's the one who found this. I'm going to guess that her reasoning was that it was a substantial piece. It was unique and interesting. It had a nice like shape to it. You can see it's kind of like a caftan dress, and it was 100% silk. So I think she got it for Factors. I might be wrong, but this isn't a brand I know much about, but I don't think it tends to have a high sell-through rate. You can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about that. I'm not used to selling it, but I think that's why she picked this up. Anything 100% silk we're usually looking up just because it is such a great material, and it really drives the value up in pre-owned pieces. We paid $4.39 for this, and we listed it for $39.98. It sold within the same month for an offer to watcher of $35.98. So regardless of why it was picked up, it was a very quick seller. This was something we did recently get as well. This is a We the Free dress. I actually went against the comps on this one as well. This was a size extra small, which usually is not a deterrent in free people because their stuff is really oversized. But I did look up this particular style. It was called the By the Way plaid mini dress. And this particular style did not have a good sell-through rate at the time of listing it, or at the time of sourcing it. But I decided to get it anyways because I thought it was very trendy for fall. I paid $4.89 for it, and to my surprise, it sold very quickly on an offer to watchers. For $26.98, it sold within a couple weeks of listing. Next up is a Lucky Brand top. I've got a few of these through here. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. we try to only pick up the ones in larger sizes when we're at regular thrift stores. I paid $4.89 for this. We listed it for $29.98. This is a size 1X, and it does have a really nice print, so therefore I listed it a little bit higher than normal. And it did sell for my full asking price of that $30. So I was really happy with that sale. It sold, I think, within like a week of listing, to be honest with you. These plus size Lucky Brand tops have a very high sell-through rate. This one I picked up based on style, and Taylor Loft is not typically a brand that I'll pick up, but this one was new with tags. It was a size large, and I thought it was a very like peasant-y, cottagecore, bohemian style top, just very on trend. So I felt confident picking it up because it had several factors stacked on top of each other. I paid $4.29 for this. I listed it for $24.98. And it sold on an offer to watcher for $22.48, and it sold, I think, within the same week. Here's another one of my tried and true brands. It is Knox Rose. We also try to stick with the larger sizes in this brand unless there is something more substantial pulling the sale through. We picked this one up at the bins, so probably only paid a couple bucks for it. It's just a black tunic top. It's got some bell sleeves. Really nice bohemian top. I listed this for $24.96. It sold in a couple months for my full asking price. This is a recent pickup as well. This is a ModCloth dress. I pretty much for the most part steer clear of ModCloth unless it is plus size. This was a size 4X dress. It was very modern, had some nice details to it, so we got it. I paid $4.89 for this. I listed it for $24.98. It sold on an offer to watcher for $22.48 and sold within a couple of weeks. This is something we've been picking up a lot, actually. It is Sigrid Olsen. When we do try to stick to the larger sizes, we found a lot of 100% linen pieces in this brand, and they've been performing well. This one sold lightning fast, I think, for all of those reasons, and it was plus size. So this was a size 3X. Paid $1.75 for this. It sold for our full asking price of $24.98. I think it sold within a couple of days. Here's another Lucky Brand top. This is also a plus size. It is a 2X. And this one sold for about $25. I paid $4.69. This is one of my favorite Anthropologie brands to sell. It is Maeve, and looking back at this, we probably should have put Anthropologie in the title, but it is still a well-known Anthropologie brand, so it's still sold. I got this one at the bins. We listed it for $24.95. It did take a few months to sell. I think that was due to the season, but it did end up selling for our full asking price. Here's another Knox Rose piece. I paid $2.99 for this dress. And the reason I listed it so low was because it was only a size medium. I try to stick to large and higher sizes in this brand, so I am a little bit leery about picking something up if it is less than that. Because this was a size medium, but it was a substantial dress and I thought it was very bohemian, I decided to get it at a low price of $2.99. We listed it for $24.98. It sold within a couple of weeks for our full asking price. This is a Free People sweater. This one sold like almost immediately after getting it listed, I think a few days, to be honest with you. I paid $4.29 for it. It sold for my full asking price of $24.98. Very on trend sweater. I will say we looked up the style name on this and it did not seem to have a very high sell-through rate, but that might be because we're at the beginning of cold weather. I think typically this would have a high sell-through rate though, but Free People sweaters are something that I usually get if they're in really good condition because they do tend to sell very quickly for me. This is a Jamie Saddock golf top, and I really love selling this brand. They have a really high sell-through rate. They do tend to perform better in the larger sizes. I got this one because it was a nice multicolor print. We paid $4.89. It did sell for a full asking price of $29.98, and it sold within a couple of weeks. Last one on eBay before we jump on over to Poshmark. I told you guys this would be a really long video. I had a lot of great pieces and great brands to show you. This is a Zara piece. Zara is another one of those that I'm really steering clear of unless it is a pretty unique, substantial piece or one that I know is a blogger favorite. This one I've just had really good luck with in the past, this shape of dress. We probably could have put it in the title, but this is what I would call an apron dress, where you would have to wear something underneath. It's almost like bibs, but it's an apron dress. We definitely should have put that in the title. Tweed, in my opinion, in Zara performs well for me, and so I do look for pieces in this material as well. I paid $3.50 for it. We listed it for $24.96 and it sold for a full asking price. It took a couple of months to sell. On over to Poshmark, we picked up this peach love dress probably a few months back. I know we showed it in a video. I did expect it to sit a little bit because, as you can tell, there are bats all over it, so I thought it would sell closer to Halloween anyways. But this peach love brand tends to have like these novelty print dresses, and so we picked up one with dinosaurs. That one sold immediately. This one, like I said, took a little bit longer to sell, I think just because of seasonality. We paid $4.99 for this. It sold for $32. Anything completely novelty print, I always look up. This was something I took a chance on. I picked this up at the bins. This is Club Monaco. Now, Club Monaco retails for quite a bit, but its resale value does not usually pull through. And it tends to have a very low sell-through rate. So if I find it, I usually look for something really substantial. This was a waxy jacket, which in my opinion, I've sold like waxy type of stuff in the past and it always drives the value up, which is why I took a chance on this. Plus I got it at the bin, so it wasn't really that much of an expense for me. I remember listing this pretty high. I feel like I listed it for like $65 or $70. I got an offer for $40. I have been sitting on this for several months, so I went ahead and accepted that offer for $40. But I would say I would steer clear of Club Monaco in general unless it's a really nice substantial piece. Next up are a pair of Torrid boots. I don't know if you guys have watched it. It was a haul a while back, but I found probably like 12 pairs of Torrid boots at this one thrift store and we got all of them. This one I think might have been the last one, but all of them had sold pretty much immediately except for this one. I think it was just because it was kind of a darker, more neutral color where the other ones were a little bit more vibrant. I paid $4.99 for this. It sold for $30, which is about what the other ones sold for. Torrid boots, in my opinion, perform really well. This is Icy by Connie K. If you're not familiar with this brand, I definitely would get familiar with it. It has a pretty good sell-through rate and it retails for quite a bit. And the resell value is usually pretty good depending on what it is. This was a size large, so that's why I think it sold for as much and as quickly as it did. It was just a pair of pull-on pants. I paid $2.50 for this and it sold for $40, which is an offer that I accepted. I will say, like, I think this is a brand that none of the thrift stores know about. So if you come across it, they sell pretty much a whole line of clothing, tops, dresses, pants, stuff like that. I've picked up almost every piece and it's performed really well, so keep your eye out. Next up is a pair of Mother jeans. I was a little bit hesitant to pick these up. Mother used to be such a great brand to pick up. Do you guys remember that? Like, Mother was the bolo of denim for a while, but I never found it during that time. So once I come across this Mother pair of jeans, I was super excited. I think Nikki found these actually and showed me and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so awesome. But then we did comps, not as great anymore. The sell-through rate is not there anymore on most pieces. You definitely want to look up the style. These were called the Quickie Charmer Jegging and they did not have a high sell-through rate. Therefore, we listed them a little bit lower to move the sale. Still ended up getting them though. I paid $4.99. We ended up accepting an offer of $32. I think we originally listed them for $40. But when something doesn't have a high sell-through rate, that's when we're going to list a little bit lower to get it moving quicker. Or leave it behind in general, right? So this next one is a Free People women's overall. We actually found this at the bins. I couldn't believe it. I just think that it didn't look like Free People, so nobody went for it. Really great size 31, and it was Nuba tags. Couldn't believe it. Overalls do pretty good in pretty much any brand, but particularly Free People has a really good sell-through rate and it really drives the value up. So we picked these up at the bins. They sold for $60, which is an offer that I accepted. I think we listed them for $70. Next up is a pair of Madewell trousers. Now, I usually steer clear of most Madewell pieces. We actually come across quite a bit of Madewell these days, but I always have to look up the style name on the inside. These were also a 00, so I almost didn't look them up in general, but they felt really high quality. So I looked up these pair of trousers as well as another pair of trousers that I found right next to them in a size 00. When it's this small of a size, I always look up the size along with it to make sure it will perform well. And surprisingly, even in a 00, these trouser pants did really good. So if you come across any kind of unique Madewell pants, like actual trousers, I would definitely look into them because both pieces that I got sold really quickly and for good money. I paid $4.89 for these and they sold for $30. And like I said, they sold within a couple of weeks. Next up is a really recent pickup as well. I paid $4.89 for this. It sold for $45 within, I think, a few days. It is Ralph Lauren Rugby. And anything Ralph Lauren that has a really interesting detail or color blocking or pattern, anything unique, I'm definitely looking up. And I did know that the Rugby line typically performed well. This was a men's color block shirt. I got great feedback on this, and yeah, really quick sale into $45. Keep your eye out for that. Next up is another bolo. I talk about this a lot, but Lily Pulitzer, amazing in almost everything. This was called the Palmyra dress. You definitely want to look up the style name on this. I pick up almost everything Lily Pulitzer. And the only reason I even look up the style, because I'm already picking it up, is to determine pricing. Because what you have, if you just looked up a Pima cotton t-shirt dress, you're going to see comps all over the place. But because we knew that this was the Palmyra dress, we could do a specific comp to figure out that it was about that $60 to $70 mark. So you really want to do good comps on Lily Pulitzer. That way you're not missing out on money during a sale. So just keep that in mind if you don't already look up a style name for these. We paid $4.99 for this one and it sold for $65, which is an amazing deal for a pre-owned dress. Next up are a pair of jeans. I pick up almost everything in the men's department in this brand, Polo Ralph Lauren. Anything really unique in Polo Ralph Lauren jeans really drives the value up. Some of them, I think I've sold some that had like plaid patches for close to $100. So keep your eye out for that. Because I'd sold these in the past in the unique styles, I paid up for this. I paid $12.99 and it ended up selling on an offer for $62. This is Vera Bradley. I've been picking Vera Bradley up a little bit more than usual because I noticed that the larger pieces do really well. And so if I can get it for a good deal and it has, a decent sell-through rate in the style, then I'll get it. This is the extra large family tote and it was in really good condition. I paid $5.99 for this. It sold for $31. I'm starting to look more closely at Vera Bradley, again, in the larger pieces. This is a pair of women's Lucky Brand jeans. This is something you're not going to see on my channel very often, but they were a size 16. They were called the Zoe skinny jeans, and they were a dark wash. I again went against the comps with this because I actually did a particular comp with like all of those factors, including new with tags. It did not have a 100% sell-through rate, but I decided to get it anyways. I paid $6.99 and they sold almost immediately for $40. Really happy with that sale. I don't know how to explain how I know to go against the comps, but it was just the larger size, the dark wash and stuff like that. This is another American Eagle exception. This is a midi skirt in a larger size, and just because this is so trendy right now, I decided to get it. American Eagle in larger sizes do well for me. I wouldn't say a large is a larger size, but the large with the midi skirt is why I picked it up. I paid $4.89 for this. It sold for my full asking price of $29 on Poshmark. Here's another American Eagle exception. I almost never pick up American Eagle tops anymore. This was a size medium, so not even a larger size, and it had no material tag. But the reason I got this was because it was very cottagey looking. I thought it was very, very on trend, and I knew it would sell very quickly. We put cottage core into the title to help pull that sale through. I paid $4.29 for it, and it sold for our full asking price of $30, and that was in like days of listing. So, you know, trust your gut on some things. If it is super trendy and it has all those factors that you know people are looking for, I would take a chance on this. I would get this top no matter what brand it was in. Next is a Tommy John sale. This is a great brand to pick up. It's very bread and butter for us. Really high sell-through rate, does not sell for much, but always sells very quickly. This is just a plain v-neck t-shirt, women's size large. We paid $4.69 and it sold for $25. And lastly, again, one of my favorite brands to sell, Knox Rose. This is a size large women's top. We paid $4.89 for this, and this one actually ended up selling for $30. A pre-owned top. Knox Rose, guys. Can't say much more about it. I know you guys are sick of it, but I'm telling you, pick it up in the larger sizes. It performs so well. Alright guys, so that's it for what sold last week. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching. If you're not already, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell down below. If you do that, you'll be notified every time I post new videos. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.